Canada and Australia just made a move that could quietly reshape the global balance of power. Two countries separated by half the planet have begun coordinating the minerals that power the modern world. Lithium for electric vehicles, uranium for nuclear energy, iron ore for global industry. These are not just resources, they are the raw materials behind the technologies that will define the next industrial era. For decades, global supply chains for many of these minerals were shaped by a handful of dominant players. But now something different is happening. Instead of competing for mining investment or acting as isolated exporters, Canada and Australia are beginning to align their strategies as producer nations. When two of the world's most resource-rich democracies start coordinating extraction, stockpiles, and supply networks, the impact goes far beyond bilateral trade. It begins to influence who controls the materials behind the technologies shaping the 21st century. Welcome to Geo Capitalist, where we analyze the economic forces reshaping global power. Today we explore how Canada and Australia are building a strategic minerals partnership that could transform global supply chains for decades to come. To understand why the Canada-Australia partnership matters, it helps to look at the materials that now sit at the center of global competition. Modern economies are increasingly defined by electrification, digital infrastructure, and advanced manufacturing. Electric vehicles require lithium, nickel, and cobalt to power high-capacity batteries. Wind turbines and advanced electronics depend on rare earth elements for powerful magnets and precision components. Nuclear power relies on uranium to generate low-carbon electricity at scale. Even the steel that supports infrastructure projects around the world depends heavily on iron ore. These materials may not dominate headlines, but they sit at the foundation of nearly every major technological system, shaping the global economy. Demand for these resources is rising rapidly. Governments pursuing energy transitions are accelerating investments in renewable power and battery storage, while technology companies continue building data centers and digital infrastructure at unprecedented scale. At the same time, defense systems, from advanced aircraft to precision guidance technologies, depend on many of the same materials. As a result, access to reliable mineral supply is no longer viewed as a simple commercial issue. It has become a strategic priority. Countries that secure stable supply chains gain the ability to sustain industrial growth, protect technological leadership, and reduce vulnerability to geopolitical disruptions. In this environment, partnerships between resource-rich nations like Canada and Australia carry far greater significance than traditional trade agreements. To understand why this partnership matters, you have to look at the scale of what Canada and Australia control together. Separately, each country is already a major resource producer. But when their mineral industries begin to align, the numbers become far more significant. Australia is the world's leading producer of lithium, the essential component behind modern battery technology used in electric vehicles and large-scale energy storage. Canada, meanwhile, holds vast deposits of nickel, uranium, cobalt, and rare earth minerals that are increasingly critical for advanced manufacturing and energy systems. Now consider what happens when those resources are viewed together. Combined, Canada and Australia produce roughly 1/3 of global lithium and uranium supply, along with enormous quantities of iron ore that support steel production around the world. These materials sit at the very foundation of the industries shaping the modern economy. Batteries, renewable energy infrastructure, advanced electronics, and nuclear energy systems all depend on them. When two countries controlling such a large share of those materials begin coordinating development and investment strategies, global supply chains start to look very different. Resource producers gain leverage. What makes the Canada-Australia partnership significant is that it goes far beyond traditional cooperation between resource producers. For many years, mineral-rich countries simply competed for investment, each trying to attract mining companies, infrastructure funding, and export contracts independently. Canada and Australia are beginning to move in a different direction. Instead of competing for influence in global markets, they are increasingly aligning their policies on how critical minerals are developed, processed, and supplied to international buyers. This includes coordinating investment strategies, encouraging joint development projects, and expanding collaboration between research institutions and mining companies across both countries. When two large producers begin synchronizing their strategies in this way, the structure of global supply chains can begin to shift. Buyers searching for reliable sources of lithium, nickel, uranium, and rare earth minerals may start to see Canada and Australia not as separate suppliers, but as part of a connected resource network. That network has the potential to stabilize supply flows, accelerate new mining development, and strengthen the role of resource-producing democracies in the industries shaping the modern technological economy. The deeper implication of the Canada-Australia partnership lies in how it changes the role of resource-producing nations within the global economy. For decades, many mineral exporters operated mainly as suppliers to industrial powers. Raw materials were extracted, exported, and processed elsewhere before being transformed into advanced technologies. In that system, influence tended to concentrate in the countries that controlled refining facilities and manufacturing industries. Resource producers often remained at the beginning of the value chain, with limited control over how supply networks evolved. That structure is now being questioned. As demand for critical minerals rises, producer nations are recognizing that coordination can significantly increase their influence. When countries with large mineral reserves begin aligning extraction plans, infrastructure development, and long-term supply agreements, they move from simple exporters to strategic participants in the global supply system. Canada and Australia are particularly well positioned to make this shift because both countries possess stable regulatory frameworks, advanced mining industries, and extensive geological resources. By coordinating their strategies, they gain greater influence over the availability of materials that modern industries depend on, gradually reshaping how mineral supply networks operate. What Canada and Australia are demonstrating is a broader shift in how middle powers operate in an increasingly competitive world. Traditionally, countries outside the largest geopolitical blocs had limited ability to shape global economic structures on their own. Their influence often depended on aligning with one dominant partner or another. But when several middle powers possess complementary strengths, cooperation can produce a different kind of leverage. Canada and Australia illustrate this dynamic clearly. Each country commands enormous natural resources, advanced mining expertise, and strong institutional stability. When those strengths are coordinated rather than isolated, they create a scale of influence that rivals much larger economies in specific sectors. This strategy does not rely on confrontation or rivalry. Instead, it focuses on building networks of cooperation among countries that share economic interests and stable governance systems. In practice, that means developing supply chains where resource extraction, investment, and industrial demand reinforce each other. For Canada and Australia, collaboration creates opportunities to expand mineral production, attract global investment, and ensure that supply networks remain reliable. As demand for critical minerals accelerates worldwide, coordinated middle power strategies may become an increasingly important feature of the evolving global economy. The partnership between Canada and Australia reflects a broader shift in how governments think about economic security. For many years, global supply chains were built primarily on efficiency and cost optimization. Companies sourced materials wherever production was cheapest and relied on international trade networks to move resources across continents. While this model helped accelerate economic growth, recent disruptions have revealed its vulnerabilities. Supply interruptions, geopolitical tensions, and rapidly growing demand for strategic minerals have shown how fragile, highly concentrated supply chains can become. As a result, many governments are beginning to treat access to critical minerals as a matter of national and economic security. Industries that rely on batteries, advanced electronics, energy infrastructure, and defense technologies require steady supplies of specialized materials. When access to those materials becomes uncertain, entire sectors of the economy can face instability. By coordinating their resource strategies, Canada and Australia aim to strengthen the reliability of mineral supply networks. Stable production, transparent regulations, and long-term planning can help create supply chains capable of supporting the technological industries that will shape the global economy. If the Canada-Australia partnership continues to develop, It could gradually reshape the global geography of mineral supply. Instead of a system dominated by a few concentrated processing hubs, the world may move toward a more distributed network of resource development and refining capacity. Such a system would reduce the risk of supply disruptions while encouraging investment across multiple regions. Diversified supply chains also create opportunities for technological innovation in mining, processing, and materials engineering. For resource-rich countries, this shift represents an opportunity to play a larger role in shaping the industries that depend on these materials. When production, processing, and technological development occur across multiple partners, influence becomes more widely distributed throughout the global economy. Canada and Australia's collaboration demonstrates how two geographically distant nations can combine their strengths to create a more resilient supply system. Over time, similar partnerships may emerge among other resource producers and industrial economies seeking stable access to the minerals that power modern technology. As the demand for advanced energy systems and digital infrastructure continues to expand, the map of global resource power will likely evolve alongside it. And that's the real story of Canada and Australia. Just built a resource alliance, neither superpower expected. If this kind of evidence-driven analysis of global economic shifts is valuable to you, watch our next video. Subscribe to Geo Capitalist and share this with someone who still believes influence comes only from size. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.